Hey everyone, and welcome to the 7th episode of the Giant Blue Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jack Macmillan. With me, as always, Felix Baker and Sean Guy.
Hi. Hey guys, sorry.
Are you guys okay?
How's it going? Quiet there. I was like, do we get excited now? All right, I'm excited now.
Right,
okay.
Some quick housekeeping things. I do want to go see the It movie, but I'm afraid that I will never sleep again.
You didn't even name the second half of that sentence. I want to see the It movie, but I'm afraid.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever sleep again.
It's supposed to be afraid, man.
Well, yeah, but I reckon like it'll
so
mess
enticing.
me up. Like it'll really mess me up, and I won't ever sleep again.
I have a confession.
It's been getting such good reviews that I'm like, I feel like I need to see this film because everyone loves it.
See, I never saw the original, and I never read it. So, the more I hear about it, I'm like, all I know is that there's a clown and a drain, and somehow that is still all I know. Like to this point,
but supposedly the clown called Pennywise is like a demon that takes the form of your biggest fear. And yet you only ever usually see him as a clown.
Like a Bogart.
Or in the trailer.
Yeah, like a Bogart.
Oh, like a Bogart.
Is it? Are you like? I always worry that this scary film is going to stay with me forever, but they almost never do. You feel like this one's different.
You just repressed them all, Felix.
Yeah,
I get like that.
We're gonna take you to a therapist one day.
It'll hit me like when I get home. I'm like, that movie had no effect on me, and then I'll go to sleep, and then it's like, I'm like, God damn it. And all I can think about is that.
You could just see them looming over your bed.
Yeah, when I was younger, stuff affected me a lot more. Like, it would last, for ages. Like, I used to think Gollum was really scary. That used to
those thumb thumbs from Spy Kids.
Oh, they're crazy.
Okay, I wasn't the only one. I'm glad. Me and my sister fucking freaked out.
That's oh, no.
They were terrifying.
Faceless demons.
They are messed up films, Spy Kids.
They're great films.
Yeah,
they're awful.
They're backwards, man.
Awful backwards.
Watch them again. And
wait, isn't it
twisted, sick?
They truly are.
Is it the fourth one where the bad guy is like?
One?
I think there's 5, and then one of them has I'm pretty sure the actor is George Lopez, and he's like a giant head. It's like crazy. And there's the one where they go into the video game. That was
Spy
great.
Kids 3D. That was one of the first 3D
that was
movies I ever saw.
amazing.
And that was I really did enjoy that.
Yeah,
I even played an online game about it for ages.
Oh really?
Anyway, what are the other housekeeping things?
Have you guys heard? So you know the Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the way it starts, and it has that song.
Hey there,
Mr. Blue Sky, and it does that thing. It's like bam, 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 and it has the freeze frame, and it's like all the stuff's going around, and then they continue to fight the monster to the music, and it follows Groot dancing.
Wait, Groot, it wasn't a freeze frame, was it?
Well, at the start, it's like Groot's he's about to dance, and it's it's with the song. It's like bam, 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 and it has.
Isn't
a
that
freeze
just
frame
Groot?
like that.
Groot stops moving.
No, it's a freeze frame because then the Guardians logo comes on. There's an explosion.
I think he's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm right. Because basically, I
saw it this morning.
There's a trend on YouTube that's they take action scenes, but they do it Guardians of the Galaxy 2 style. The best one I've seen is the Winter Soldier elevator scene, and it's just if anyone wants to get off, you can hear it in the background it's now's the time. The guy goes oh, and it's bam, bam, bam. It's like Winter Soldier.
I love that.
It's just the fight scene, but to the music of Guardians.
That's awesome.
They do it for everything. There is so many. You can go down a rabbit hole on YouTube. There's Civil War, so it's where they're all running, it's they're not slowing down, they run and then they're about to hit, and it's bam, 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 and it has the
Avengers!
It's so good. And
why have we not watched this?
I had to.
Does it always say Guardians of the Two Galaxy style?
It's like John Wick, Guardians 2 style, Civil War battle airport scene, Guardians 2 style.
That's
There's
awesome.
everything. There was Darth Vader Rogue One scene, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 style, or whatever. It's the lightsaber comes out. It's yeah, it's so good. I had to stop watching them when there was one that was Omaha Beach, Saving Private Ryan, Guardians 2 style, and I was like, no. I was like, it's too much. You can't do that. I was like, that's awful. That's so insensitive.
Fuck, I want to watch that one.
Wait, that's great.
They're really
Saving
good.
Private Ryan.
I absolutely recommend everyone check
it's
them
not
out.
insensitive, is it?
They're really cool. I'll put the elevator one in the link, maybe.
Yeah, I want to watch one of these. These sound fun.
Anyway,
I don't have any exciting housekeeping things, except just then I said Guardians of the Two Galaxy.
Is there anything you said that was incredibly embarrassing that you want to retcon?
I said Guardians of the Two Galaxy. Just said that's the only thing.
We can play that back when we edit this.
Didn't plan that
anything for
at
you,
all.
Sean?
No, I got nothing. No.
All right, well, let's move on to topics. I want to talk about Captain Underpants. The movie. But also, if you've read the books. It's very rare that I've read a book before the movie.
This is the one.
It's very rare that I've read a book.
That I've read a book, yeah. And so, I just want to know sort of what Captain Underpants have you read?
Fuck,
and
there's
how
a lot
close
more
you are.
books than I remember.
There's more than that. I read because he wrote a bunch, and then I sort of stopped reading them.
Yeah.
And then
he just went out and bought these.
I got
today.
older. No.
They look old
I
as
found
hell.
these in an old box in my in my cupboards. But yeah, and then there's new ones now. Like there's like the latest one came out like last year, and I was like doing some reading about Dav Pilkey, the author, and he took a 6-year break to look after his father, who was like really ill or something like that. And I was like, oh, that explains it, because I remember at the end of Super Diaper Baby, it says,
Were they in order?
Coming soon. Yes, they were. Of course they were. Super Diaper Baby 2 coming soon. This book came out in like 2002 or something like that, and then only like a couple of years ago, Super Diaper Baby 2 came out.
He's got a new series now too. Dogman.
Dogman, yeah, which I think is
the most recent came out
the hell?
maybe like less than a month ago.
There's a ton of books. He's a great author. He did like the Dragon series, which became like a cartoon and stuff like that. And I was surprised.
Wait, what Dragon series?
It's like he's a big blue dragon.
Oh, okay.
But and he's done other stuff.
Sorry.
But I'm surprised. And Captain Underpants, to my knowledge, wasn't a TV series or anything like that. But yeah, most recently they're coming out with a movie this year. I'd heard about it and I was like, oh, is it going to be cool? And
I'm pretty excited for it.
I'm pretty keen. It looks real fun and really goofy.
I like the style.
The animation style
with
they've lent
Yeah,
itself
yeah.
quite well to the books. And apparently they do, because in the book, there's George Beard and Harold Hutchins, the main two characters, and they in the book they write their own comics, and it's really funny in the book because what happens is the drawing style is like intentionally made to look worse.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
And
it's
there's
like
so many spelling errors,
there's heaps of spelling mistakes, and apparently they do something like that in the film. There's different
cool.
animation styles.
Really?
Apparently they even do the Fliporama stuff. Which hang on, let me see if I can find here. Vamp amongst yourselves. I found
Flip
Yeah, what
around
was
where you
flip-
like, you
it's
flip
like
the pages
you
back
flip
and
the
forth.
page and it's like sort
It's
of
like an
animation
action
style.
sequence.
So if
It's
you
like
camera
throwing a
one,
punch.
camera
like,
two.
Picture
it's
one,
like,
picture two.
yeah, picture one, picture two, like that sort of thing.
You guys are explaining the same thing.
Yeah,
Same-
when you flip it, it makes like a cool little, like.
Oh, so it's like you don't. Because usually when I think of a flip book and it goes on and on and on, but that
No,
one you can
this
just
is
go
just
back and forth.
Back and forth. It's
Yeah, I
real
see, I see.
simple, but it's really cool. And I read
is cool,
somewhere
yeah.
that apparently they do that in the movie somehow.
Do they
It's
like tell
sick.
you where to put your finger? Is that what they? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they
right.
had it
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in the
It's
corner.
great.
It's like,
Yeah.
It was really inspiring. I think when I was a kid, I just wanted to make my own comics and do that kind
I
of stuff.
did
like
make
the
a
flip
comic
book.
when I was a
I
kid.
did as well. It was so much fun.
yeah.
And I loved the drawing style. Like it was simple enough that I could like emulate it as a kid. Like I really liked
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
it was detailed enough and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all the ones I've read. Did you guys read them as a kid?
I'm
Yes.
pretty sure I read all of them.
I want to say
Yeah.
I got as far as Super Diaper Baby.
And Wrath of the Wicked Wedgie Woman.
Yeah.
I think that was sort of the last one. There's more now, but
yeah.
I think that was where I think it peaked. I think.
Did you? Is that the new one, the 8th epic novel, or is that not?
I think it got up to like 11 or 12.
There's a few more after that.
And there was
one.
those super
Oh,
crunchy
okay.
books as well. There was like
Yeah,
super crunchy
they were
book
like
of
the ones
fun.
you could fill in.
Yeah.
So here we go. Yeah, there's Super Diaper Baby 2, Frankenfart,
I don't think Frankenfurt ever
Dogman.
came out.
I'm not sure if it did too.
I love. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that they're
They were
making a
great.
movie
they
about
were
it.
great.
Yeah.
And
I would have never remembered it.
It's
Yeah.
if the movie
weirdly
hadn't come out.
nostalgic.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like, who is it aimed at? Like the 20,
It's a
early
dude
20s
that
dudes?
runs around in underpants.
It's like everything. It's like the weird sort of phase where it's like we're trying to project our nostalgia on like the younger audience kind of thing.
yeah.
Like
It
this
was
is
good
what's
then, it's good now.
And they're like, I don't like this.
Well,
'cause-
they've got their own series.
exactly. Like theirs will be like
Diary of a Wimpy Kid. That was like their Captain Underpants in a way.
yeah. Kind
Even
of.
the style of book is pretty similar, like the cartoonish sort of thing.
Well, the cool thing because I have a younger brother, and so like I think when he was like getting into, like he started reading them as well. So that's like another like resurgence for me is I get to like
Yeah.
revisit it as well, like when he discovers it. And yeah, I don't know. I think I've only seen like the one trailer for the movie. It looks
But
kind of
it's-
weird.
It's comedians. It's like all comedians, I think. Like
Well,
Chris Rock, isn't
I
it? And
It's Chris Rock and Thomas Middleditch, who's star of Silicon Valley, as
Yeah.
Harold and George.
Yeah, that's cool.
Chris
never
Rock?
pictured when I read the books. I never pictured Kevin Hart being like, "Man, that tiger was crazy." Or, like, I never pictured that
Wait,
voice
who's
for George Beard.
Is Kevin Hart?
Kevin Hart is George Beard, and
Who's Chris Rock?
sorry, it's not Chris Rock. It's
Chris
oh,
Rock's
it's
not
Chris-
there at all.
it's
I was
Kevin
about
Hart.
to
had it
correct-
wrong.
I was
I
about
had
to
it
correct you
wrong.
on that
Sorry, I
one.
got mixed up. And then Ed Helms is Captain Underpants.
Ed Helms, yes.
Thomas Middleditch
Yes.
is Harold.
Oh, Jordan Peele is in it too.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people I
That's
reckon.
cool, yeah.
The movie does look like it's a blend of multiple ones. Like it has like elements from Captain Underpants, the first one, and Attack of the Talking Toilets. There's like a
Yeah.
big toilet that
There's,
he fights.
there's no way they'd be able to make a
And
movie out
I'm
of it.
pretty
single-
sure Professor Poopy Pants is in it as well.
I'm pretty sure I saw him in a trailer, yeah.
Professor Poopy Pants.
I love how it's all poo.
It's like
and
Mr.
farts
Poopy
and
Butthole.
boogers.
It's like what Rick and Morty is now
Yeah.
almost. And there's probably elements from the third one because the third one is how Captain Underpants gets his super strength and his powers and stuff
That's
like that.
right, yeah,
So I think
yeah,
it will
yeah.
be a mixture of those ones. And then the other interesting thing is, it's not everywhere. I only see it sometimes. There's like a subtitle to the Captain Underpants movie, and it says the first epic movie. And that kind of shits me off because I'm like, don't ever call your thing the first thing because you don't know how it's going to do. People might not like it. But it's also, it's just, well, that's it. I mean,
it's like when Star Wars first came out. Like, they didn't call it Star Wars 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they went, like, this is going to be so great that we're going to make pre-movies. Yeah, you're right.
That was a stupid joke. They didn't call it number 1 either. They just called it Star Wars. Yeah. And then later on it was Star Wars and New Hope.
But it is based on a series. So it's like, if you were to call it the first one, then maybe talk more about how it is, like, say, a planned trilogy or something like that. Or I guess it's just a franchise. Like, we'll milk it until it doesn't make money.
But I would
We'll
watch
make
that.
11 movies. Like, who cares? If it's good, I hope it's good.
The fun thing about the books is that they get like pretty deep with the plots as well. Like I remember reading like the 9th and 10th in the series, and there's like going back in time, and they like cross over with like the 5th and 6th books, and there's like
really?
There's like dinosaurs.
You know more than
and
I
stuff.
do.
Yeah, man.
I think I stopped reading up to those ones. I think.
Oh man, I was obsessed with it when I was like 20 years ago. Like no, they were great. Yeah. Or 15 years ago maybe.
I hope it. So with the Lego Movie, how they.
Yeah.
Where the fuck was my train of thought going just then?
You know
Damn
what
it!
Damn it!
What
Were you
the
gonna say
hell?
live action?
No, God. I can't remember. Nah, continue. Jesus Christ.
Well, the interesting thing about Lego Movie was there was never a plot, and they're just like, we'll just make it about Lego.
Lego, yeah.
And I feel like a lot of things are falling for that trap now, because you've got
Like
the
the
Emoji
Emoji
movie,
movie.
and
Yeah.
there's rumors of a Minecraft movie, and like just feel like
There
it's
is a Minecraft movie. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Patton Oswalt does the voice.
no, that's Minecraft Story Mode. That's like an Xbox
there's
game.
Just
Is
like
there?
a little
But there's
story.
supposedly like a movie happening,
Okay.
and it's not about Steve.
I've seen the
it's
pretty
like,
good
it's a whole
little
like,
mini
original-
I was
animations
sure
out
they
of-
did like a. I must be wrong.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt voices the main guy in Minecraft
In
Story
the
Mode.
story.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Which I don't like particularly very well. I don't know.
You don't like the mode, or you don't like Patton Oswalt?
I love Patton Oswalt. I don't
I think
I
he's
don't like
cool.
story
I think
mode
he's
that
cool.
much. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
Captain Underpants. I'm keen. I
Yeah.
read the books.
Alright.
They were great childhood books. And I just remembered one little thing right now, like a weird anecdote.
Probably a thing I forgot.
Well, the way they, because it's the principal is Captain Underpants.
Yep.
The principal of
Krupp.
the school.
The principal of their school.
Krupp.
And to get out of like detention, they use this like, they get it in like a newspaper or like some
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
advertisement.
yeah.
They order this like hypno ring, and they think it's like a load of rubbish, but it works. And so they hypnotize Mr. Krupp, and they're playing around with it, and they think it's like a joke to like become Captain Underpants, and he does. And then it goes to his head, and then he runs down the street trying to save people, and they're like having to stop him. And one of the books that I got, it came with like a hypno ring. It was in like this school, you got to
Yeah,
order
yeah,
the books,
yeah.
the books,
And they
thing.
come
the book
with
fairs.
Scholastic,
Yeah, Scholastic book fairs. And one of them came with a hypno ring, and I had that.
Did it work?
Yeah, it totally worked.
No,
There's a real
it was
life
just a
Captain
cool
Underpants
we
We should
running
do
around.
it here on
I
the
mean,
podcast.
I don't know.
Hypnotize Felix.
Hypnotize Felix. When you're a kid, though, like everything just has such value, and I thought this thing was so cool.
You
And
still have it, don't you?
no, I don't. That's where I'm getting at. Is like this kid who, you're like,
Shout out to the dick who stole
I'm not going to
Jack's-
name his name, but
No,
like,
do it.
you know those kids, it's like, you kind of like, everyone's in the same friendship group, so your parents
been
just kind of
20
like, they
years
just
ago.
push you with like, well, I'm just thinking of it now. They, like,
What colour was his hair?
just let me speak. Like, when parents just like shove you to be friends with these kids, and you in your head, you're like, because you don't really know like assholes exist yet, because you're kind of like a little kid, but you're just like, for whatever reason, I'm not really that fond with this kid, but I guess I'll just hang out with him because that's who I am. Like, you don't know that you can like choose who to hang out with because you're a kid. You just hang out with whoever's there.
You don't
And I
care,
remember
yeah.
and I was like, this kid was like kind of shady kid, and I'd already had suspicions that
This
he
is
probably
in year
stole
3?
stole my thing. Yeah, it would have
Okay.
been like grade 2 or
Pretty
something like
shady,
that.
yeah.
And I remember being around his house one time, and I saw it. I saw the hypno ring, my fucking hypno ring, on his cupboard. I remember just staring at it, being like,
Did you steal it back?
well, no, because I know I should have, but I was just remember staring at it, being like, I know that that's mine. And I was like, I remember I questioned him. I was like, hey, that's I mean, I don't know how I said. I don't know how I phrased
As
it.
a 7-year-old.
I don't know how I phrased it
he
as
was
a
like
cool
a
7-year-old.
noir villain,
But I was
like,
like,
hey.
that's a
15-year
nice
vendetta.
that's a nice hypno ring you got there. And he was like, oh yeah, I got it with like one of the books that are.
Maybe
and
he
I was
did.
like, you've never read Captain Underpants in your life. Fucking piece. Of
You don't
shit.
appreciate that ring.
If you're listening to this, you know who you are, and you're a piece of shit, and I hope you're a better person now than you were in grade 2. And if you still have that hypno ring, I want it back.
He's probably been trying to get in touch with you for the last 15 years. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize this was yours,
Yeah,
Jack.
you shouldn't have locked him on Facebook.
I was a
You had,
bad
like,
kid.
15 missed
I've
messages.
changed,
like-
Jack. Let's be friends again. I know we
I
didn't
should
mix
have
back then, but-
stolen it back, shouldn't I?
Well,
But that's the
What,
thing.
you don't know if it was
I
yours?
think my mum was like picking me up, like Jack. So it's like I had to think quickly, and I couldn't. He was in the room, and I couldn't just swipe it. You know, I would have had to wait till he goes to the toilet or something, and
This
then
is the
just swipe
funniest
it.
thing I've ever heard.
You know.
Can we make
But
a
I'm not-
I
movie
think I had the
about
same
this?
situation where some
But-
kid stole my Beyblade, and
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah.
And Beyblades are like much more defined than hypno rings because
How
they all look
dare you.
exactly the same. No, defined as in like
Yeah.
you can differentiate them
Kids can
unless you're a
so-
weirdo.
There's
and you can,
tons of Beyblades. There's only 5 of these hypno rings in
Yeah.
existence.
but yeah, I
could've
saw
been
it
a
at this
millionaire.
kid's house, and I don't think
Millionaire.
I did the same thing where I was like worried that maybe it was actually.
Well, yeah,
his.
that was the thing.
Yeah.
It was like, even though I was like 99.999% sure that was my hypno ring,
Yeah.
there is that tiny thing. You're like, what if it is his?
Yeah.
And I'm like, even
What
though
if I'm
like,
wrong?
even
Yeah.
what if I'm wrong? It's like then I'm the asshole who
Yeah,
stole
yeah.
it. And then it's like I would go home and I would find mine, and I would have 2. Or
I have
whatever.
like
Yeah.
15 DVDs on my shelf right now that I know are not mine. I'm like, I should really give that back.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
like
happens with
6
video
years.
games. all the time.
When my family moved from Scotland to Australia, we had like a board game of like a friend of mine. I forgot to give it back. They're like, "Well, Jack, it's too late now. We're going to Australia. We're going across the
Wait,
across
did you
the
take it
world."
with you?
Yeah, it was
We
like
played that
Mousetrap
board
or
game.
Monopoly. I don't think we have
played
it
the
anymore.
board game on the podcast.
We don't have it
and
anymore.
Shout out to Scotland.
Oh, fucking Beyblades and stuff. That's like a whole other discussion
I
of
don't wanna
like
go to Beyblades.
childhood, like all those
Which
all
are
the
coming?
phases.
They're coming back as well, and I would have been about
What?
7 years old. Beyblade's coming back.
They're
Like,
not coming back.
Yeah, they are. They have like
Sure
my
not.
partner's nephews keep like.
Is it because they're similar
Rip.
to fidget spinners? Because it's just like it's like a fidget
no,
spinner
they,
but
I
with
think
a cord.
I think they were playing with them a little bit before spinners came back. But yeah, they're definitely like they're in
I
they're
can't
in the
wait for the fidget spinner movie.
the fuel stations. They're in Big W everywhere. Yeah, they're back.
There's a few phases of stuff. Yeah,
I don't want all that stuff. to come out.
Pokemon.
Get
It's
your own-
again. It's like
Yu-Gi-Oh.
this was good when we were kids. Fucking take it.
Yeah.
Marbles. I only
Nah.
discovered marbles when I moved to Darwin. That wasn't a thing in Adelaide where I lived
Yeah, it wouldn't
beforehand.
have been.
And I remember coming up here, I'm like, what do you guys play? Do you guys play like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh? They're like, we play marbles. And I'm like, things are behind in Darwin.
30 years.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, seems a bit retro here. But
What
no.
do you do on weekends? Hopscotch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You guys want to play stickball? Anyway,
Oh,
we can
that's
move on.
great.
We could talk about phases and
I don't
Beyblades
want
and
to.
trading
I don't want
cards
to
and all
talk
that
about
stuff. But
Yeah,
let's
neither.
move on then.
I don't have any vendettas with 6-year-olds, so
Not really Vendetta. It's just experiences with that kind of stuff, like
yeah.
playing for keeps. That shit was heart wrenching because you're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to play for keeps. Like, do it. Are you a faggot? Do it. You're like, okay. And then
Jesus,
and
little
then you
8-year-old
win.
Jack.
And then then they would cry, and then you're the asshole that made the kid cry. Or whatever. You're like, what's his idea? Sorry that I won.
Life's cruel.
Yeah.
See you at lunch.
Ah.
All right. So next topic.
Yeah.
Next topic.
You want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
All right. Prepare yourselves, ladies and gentlemen.
This is the topic
for the
he's been
topic
stewing on
that
for
I
like 6 or 7 minutes.
about 20 minutes at this point.
Okay,
I
alright.
stole this one off of Jack. It's a very good topic. Wait, did I steal off Jack or was it off you?
No, Jack.
Of
Of
Jack.
course.
This is-
All right. What is you guys' movie?
You guys'.
You guys' movie guilty pleasure? The one that you know is bad or that people
Teenage
like
Mutant
will
Ninja
judge you for.
Oh no!
But-
really?
Yeah, from the newer one, the
Oh,
2014
God.
one.
The
Teenage
live
Mutant
action or the cartoon one? I like the cartoon one, but
Ninja- I like the live action one. Not the second. The second
I
one.
knew you were
reckon?
gonna say that. That's devastating.
I
Well, I mean,
liked
that's
it.
the
I really
point of
liked
it.
it.
We're
I
gonna-
saw it with
I
a
know,
friend.
you were gonna
I
judge
saw it with a
about it.
friend, and we came out. We were like, "That was good, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, that was." I'm like, "We're gonna get so much shit for liking this." And sure enough, everyone's like, "You're wrong. Like, you're wrong. That's a bad movie." We're like, "Well, we've seen it,
and we
You
liked
haven't.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
so you can't really like tell me how I have to feel," which is always what people love doing. But
Yeah.
no, I like it.
Fair enough.
I
Yeah,
know there's
fair
problems.
enough.
Megan
You're allowed
Fox is
to.
terrible,
We're not
and
gonna
there's
judge
like
you.
not enough focus
Megan
on the
Fox is
turtles.
great.
But the turtles in that movie are so awesome, and they're how you think the turtles are. They act how they should.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I see it. I see what you're going for.
That's what comes to mind. What about you guys?
Yeah.
I had one in mind that
I
was
have
a
a
guilty
couple
pleasure,
in
but I
mind.
genuinely really enjoy Grease and Grease 2.
And Grease too.
Really enjoy it. And Grease 2.
Oh,
Grease,
man.
Grease, I mean, like, people enjoy that. 'cause
Grease is
it's
like-
pretty
everyone
good. It's
loves
pretty good.
Grease. Grease
But I
is a
really
classic.
enjoy Grease 2 as well. But I think it's because it's like I really like Robbie Williams as well because it was
Yeah.
played so much in the car when I was a child. I think the same thing's happened with Grease 2 where like it's just been
I like
I've been
Robbie
forced to
Williams,
watch
the
it so many
Rob-
times
singer.
that
The singer.
I've been yeah.
You
Yeah,
like, you're
I
like
like Robbie
nostalgic.
Williams.
He wasn't in
That's
the
not a
movies.
guilty play. He's great. Yeah.
I know, but I like looking back, like
Okay.
objectively. Sorry,
Yeah.
subjectively, I don't actually enjoy Robbie Williams. I just like
remember it.
Yeah.
Well, it's just what you know,
I
like
don't
your parents play, and you don't necessarily
makes
have.
sense.
Which is what happened with Grease 2 and Sound of Music as well.
Grease 2.
I've not seen it, so I don't know, but I've heard it's like terrible.
I don't think I've seen it either.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Was
I
it
know,
like
I know
straight to
every
DVD?
song fucking word for word,
Oh,
man.
man.
And I will sing it proudly. Not on video though, unfortunately. So
come
no
on.
presentation today.
I should have done a bit more research because I
Dang.
can't quite remember like other movies. There's definitely more movies, but I mean, taste changes as well. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we had the Star Wars podcast the other week or whatever, and it's like when I was a kid, Episode 2 and Episode 6 were
Yeah.
my favorite films.
Yeah.
Favorite Star Wars films. Now they're probably my least favorite Star Wars films. Like, I don't know. It's
Episode
just
2
funny.
was my favorite probably
That happens.
film.
Your
for,
taste
a
buds
long
change
Yeah,
every
exactly.
7
And
years.
now I'm like, I can't even get through that movie. Like, or I have to like
Yeah.
fast forward through it. But
To all the good parts.
yeah.
but that's not a guilty pleasure. Like, I can recognize that that's banned. Oh, what's that movie?
So Watchmen.
Master of Disguise.
Oh no.
Did you ever see that movie?
Oh yeah.
I watched that
Is that
movie like
Mike
7
Myers?
times in a row.
You're
It's
from
Dana
the Turtle
Carvey. It's
Club?
the other guy. Yeah, he's like, welcome to the Turtle Club. Yeah, I was
Am I
like,
not truly enough for the
I was like,
Turtle
this
Club?
movie is awesome. And it's like, I
Yeah.
bet if I watched it now, that's the other thing. If you don't watch it when you're an adult,
It doesn't
it's
get
good
ruined.
forever. Yeah. it's like, I've not seen that movie in years. So in my mind, I'm like, it's the best movie ever made.
That's
Through the
interesting.
eyes
What's,
of a 12-year-old.
okay, let me twist it then. What's a movie that like you thought, like when you were a kid and you were watching it, like this is the best movie ever? But now
now-
you think back and you're just like, what
I
the
think
hell?
it's
was
associated-
that?
I can't sit
What's
through
the one
this.
with the llama? The
Emperor's New Groove?
Emperor's New Groove. I think.
That is the best movie ever.
Exactly. It
Is it-
hasn't- when I was like
Wait, so you
small,
can't
I was
sit
like,
through it anymore?
No. When I was small, I was like, I think this is the best movie ever. And now that I'm old and wise, I know that it actually is the best movie ever.
I love
You
that
have
meme
enough
that-
knowledge of the universe. to
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
Yeah.
Objectively.
I love that
Objectively-
meme that's like, is this movie shit? And it's like, is it Emperor's New Groove? Yes, then it's not shit. No, then it's shit.
It is like
You are
the
wrong.
best movie. It's so good.
It is pretty bloody good.
Here's going way back, which I can't believe this thought ever crossed my mind. Jimmy Neutron.
Oh.
That movie is awful.
I
But when I
bought
first
that
saw that movie, I
recently.
was like, this is the best
Best
thing I've
movie
ever
ever.
seen. And it's like, the animation is ugly, it's awful, it's so stupid.
It's
Like,
not-
I've not seen it in a long time.
I remember
but
the
I bet
TV
it's
show
terrible.
being quite like a little bit
forgot there was a
timeless,
TV
but not.
show.
It's creepy. The animation looks creepy to
Yeah.
me now. I don't like it.
Puppy eyes. And
Because
stuff.
it's the problem is like if you have a low budget and do 2D animation still looks okay. If you have a low budget and you do CGI, low budget CGI looks creepy and horrible in my mind.
What was that one, the Little Red Riding
they
Hood
wouldn't
one?
get away
What was
with
that
it
called?
now.
Hoodwinked.
Hoodwinked. Oh.
That was so funny.
I could
It
watch
had
it now.
probably
I
the
reckon
same
it was
kind
like,
of
I
weirdness
reckon it'd
about
be
it.
terrible now.
No, see, I haven't seen it since I was like young,
Yeah.
and I remember coming out of that film being like, that was the most wittiest, like, cleverest film I've ever seen.
Even as a kid, yeah.
Yeah, because like the wolf is so dry and so
It's
funny.
Patrick Warburton or whatever.
Is it
He's like, I
really?
told you to take pictures of everything.
And the squirrel gets
God,
high
that was
on coffee. and,
12
like,
years ago, Hoodwinked.
Yeah.
What would that make us, like 11 or something? Yeah.
I remember
watching
being
it.
in primary school, like, and watching it or something, or maybe it was a school trip or something like that. Because it came out around the same
Yeah.
time as Over the Hedge, and Over the Hedge
We
used
might
the
have watched it
exact
together.
same
Same thing with
gag
the squirrel and
of
the
the squirrel
coffee,
drinking
yeah.
coffee
Yeah.
and going, and I'm like, how can two companies think of the same joke, and like, why a squirrel? Like, why not
Yeah.
like a different animal that drinks
Yeah.
coffee? Like, why would you have
Because you want
two-
something small that has a lot of energy already, and then you just
But
extrapolate
there's a lot
that
of
in further.
animals like that. Like a kitten,
What? A kitten?
like is like.
I don't know. Kittens
think it-
Like why does it? Why
they're
does
just
a squirrel?
playful.
Why does that the penultimate
Because
joke?
they always
that
scatter
works?
really quickly.
Because
you
they
know?
scatter. You can make it. Any animal is like skitter.
So Over the Hedge came out first? Is that what we just...
I'd
we
have
have
to
I can,
fact
I
check
can
it.
actually. I
You were
can
gonna say something.
fact check
about
that.
Felix,
Power of
and
the
I cut you
internet.
off there.
Oh, I figured out what the other guilty pleasure was. I don't know. Did you guys actually like Fun with Dick and Jane? Did you guys ever watch that?
Is it Jim Carrey?
Is that Tia
With Jim
Leone as
Carrey
well?
and
I
I
think
am
it
bad
is
with
Tia
names
Leone.
of old ones, but
I
I think so.
I
Yeah.
have seen that.
It's about this just the stock market, and like then they start
And then
robbing banks and
but
stuff.
the kid is funny as in that, isn't it? Because like the kid learns Spanish because like the parents
I've
are always
watched it so many
away.
fucking times, but I just like I feel like I'm just
Is
like
there a scene
floating
where he like
through
starts
the movie
cutting
now.
up people's lawns or something to make his
Yeah,
own
yeah, yeah.
lawn?
So like, and he, yeah, that's right. And he patches
He
up his
takes
own
like a
lawn.
knife and because
It's his-
everyone,
it's his
everyone
name. He's
has
like-
like fake grass. You know, you just roll it out.
And he's
So
angry
he
at
starts
someone.
cutting out like he cuts out like he takes like a knife and
The,
just
ne-
starts
the
cutting.
next
and then he-
morning, the
so
shot is him with a coffee, and he's like, "Morning, Joe," and like his,
Oh,
his
yeah,
patches
yeah,
his
his
yeah.
yard is all like patches from different people's lawns. So it's like
I remember
this.
that. That's so funny.
I really enjoy that movie.
Oh, I haven't seen
I
that
don't know
in a long
why,
time.
because Jim Carrey kind of annoys me.
I should have taken time to
Have you
think
seen
about
his
more.
new interview? He's gone off
Oh,
the rails.
it's sad though. His girlfriend or wife died, and
Yeah,
it's like
and he was like accused for it.
he was like
well.
accused in one of the running. I don't know. He seems to be
But
going
he did
through
this
a lot
interview,
of
and he's
shit.
just like, "You're not real. I'm not real. Nothing exists." And he's like,
He's
really
like, I wanted to
weird.
do the most
depressed?
pathetic thing. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think majorly, severely depressed.
He's like, I wanted to do the most worthless thing I could think of.
So he's
I
like,
came
so I'm
to
this
this awards
fashion show.
And they're like,
really?
yeah, but
And
we're
the woman just,
celebrating
like,
icons.
I'm gonna do it right now. She's like, she just looks right
Should
at
I
the
keep
camera.
interviewing him?
She's like,
It's
why
awkward
God?
as,
She's like,
yeah.
she was not expecting that. She's
Yeah,
like, Jim
it was a
Carrey,
dark
hi.
turn.
And he's like, hey, yeah.
Jesus,
He
for
like
such a
walks
crazy,
around.
energetic like, comedian.
It's
like,
kinda sad,
I mean,
yeah.
well, they say that about comedians though, that they're kind
They
of
said
like,
like
they've got something dark on the inside of
all
them.
yeah,
A
it's
lot
like
of
ready to
comedians
come
do, I
out.
think, because
It's how they
draw
like a
on that.
coping mechanism kind
Yeah.
of.
comedians are like the most saddest people on the planet. Yeah, and they tell jokes for a living. That's like the cruel irony of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Jim Carrey. That's a shame.
It's a bit weird. I need to watch that interview. Hoodwinked came out before Over the Hedge.
Ah,
Wow.
They were in different years, so I don't know if it was 2 years or what. Like
Animation
a day.
takes time though too, and like there's
Well, Over
scenes
the
that have
Hedge-
taken like a year to make.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Because Hoodwinked, they were like, we really want to use this gag before Over the Hedge comes out, so let's make it shitty animation so we can punch it out.
There's an interview with an animator from somewhere, and they were talking about like yeah, we really want to make like an animated movie about penguins, and then he's like, but then we heard rumblings that
Madagascar.
Happy Feet was in the works, and they're like, oh damn, this Happy Feet's in the works, and then there was also.
Madagascar.
Surf's Up was also in the works, which is about
Isn't that
surfing
Happy Up as
penguins.
well? Isn't that Happy Feet? Isn't that like a spin-off or something?
No, Surf's Up's
No, they're
Surf's Up's Sony Pictures, I think.
Is it
and,
original?
And Happy Feet's Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Surf's Up's there's a guilty pleasure. Surf's Up's an amazing film. Surf's Up's
So, but
so
films do come in like
got the
pairs
rooster.
quite a lot. Like ever since Ants and Bugs Life, there's been like every like year or two.
Yeah.
They're just everything like happens in pairs.
But it is, I think, because you just get into a vacuum and you're just working on your project for like 2 years. You don't really see like the
Yeah.
other stuff going around. But yeah, he talked about that. He was like, they were about to do a Penguins movie, and then there was rumblings of like Surf's Up, Happy Feet, and then also Madagascar, which has a
Yeah.
lot of penguins. And he was like, all right, let's not do a Penguins movie. Let's do something else.
And around the same time, there was Good Luck Chuck, which had penguins in it. I don't know if you remember that.
oh, I did.
It's kind of
Yeah,
like a
it's
recurring
an event
theme. She was
thing.
like a marine vet
Yeah.
or something like that.
Good luck,
That was
Chuck.
around about the same
So
time.
stupid.
Sorry, I just googled penguin movies and it popped up as well for 2007. Yeah.
It is interesting. I'm trying to, because it's like
Penguins
guilty,
had their
guilty
time.
pleasure. It's like
Come on,
they're,
go on.
they're recognizably bad, but I still like them. And I'm trying to
Mine
think of
probably
that.
is Watchmen. I think because like
What?
well,
I think
in,
people like that. I don't think people love
It
it
just
like
didn't
we do,
do
but I think
so
there's a lot of people
well,
that
I
just
guess.
don't really care for it that much. I
Yeah.
think.
But more recently, the Room has become like everyone's guilty pleasure, and it's so mine. The Room is like the worst film ever made.
Fascinating how that's exploded.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Well, the Disaster Artist now, because
Yeah.
they're making that movie
Which is
about
like based
the
on
Room.
the book or something, like the friend wrote the guy that
Yeah,
plays
like
Mark
one of
or
the main
something.
actors. Yeah,
I've
Greg
yet to see it.
Sestero.
I do need to watch it.
I honestly, it's terrible, and I recommend everyone watches it. It's so funny.
We do need to watch it, yeah.
I enjoyed it thoroughly, even though I like hated it. it's incredible. Like,
Well, I
how
think
you get
that's-
this dichotomy of
That's the
emotion.
reason like everyone likes it is because
Yeah.
It's so
they love
funny.
to hate it.
yeah.
In essence, right?
It's just
Well,
bad.
that's another interesting thing is love to hate. Yeah, that's like an interesting. You know, I'm having so much trouble thinking of a guilty pleasure, so I'm happy to move on
Yep.
if you guys
No one
want
Let's
to.
has
move on.
that likes Jar Jar Binks more than they should or anything like that.
Nobody likes Jar Jar
Guilty
Binks
pleasure
at
there.
all.
But that's the thing. I feel like guilty pleasure is like you like it unabashedly. Like you kind of know it's bad, but you still like it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You're not loving to hate it. You genuinely like it. Sort
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. I
Like,
can't think of
You
one.
sort of look past the flaws and stuff like that. Like
You usually have to watch it a lot earlier on, like before you.
I think
I
being
think that's
I think
why we've
being
all
younger.
gone to animated films. Yeah.
I think
It's
being
the
younger
nostalgia
it does help.
overrides it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Monsters vs Aliens is funny. There's a lot of like animated films, but it's not bad. I mean, I don't know if it counts.
Yeah, I really should have thought. I could have come up with a few, I reckon.
You
if I
didn't
thought
even
about
come
this.
up with a topic.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If I knew about it.
Yeah.
If you gave me the topic earlier, Jack.
I mean, because it's funny because we talk about like films like good well-made animated films like Toy Story and stuff like that, it's like you can go back as an adult and be like, oh my god, there's so much stuff I didn't get, or like jokes that flew over
Like
your head as a
Shrek.
kid. Shrek
Shrek
already
example.
felt
Shrek
quite
2 is a
adult
bit of a
to
guilty
me.
pleasure.
Shrek? What Shrek? Everyone loves Shrek 2. What are you
Do they?
talking about?
Yeah,
I
that's
thought Shrek 2
no
was like-
one hates Shrek.
Which one
Like,
did
I don't
they
think
all
I've
hate?
ever
What do you
heard a
mean?
bad thing about Shrek.
I think
Yeah,
Shrek 2
everyone
was, like,
hates
the
Shrek
best
3
one.
and 4.
Sorry, Shrek. I'm talking about Shrek, the first movie.
Everyone
Shrek
hates
1 and
Shrek
2,
1.
everybody loves.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I thought everyone didn't like Shrek 2. So it's
No,
not
I've
You're
never heard a
insane.
bad thing.
Everyone
Oh,
loves Shrek
okay.
2. It had
Alright.
Puss in Boots and
Oh, yeah,
the
it
gingerbread.
does,
Yeah, and then they started getting. Oh yeah,
I
that's
watched
right.
minor
with the
Shrek 2
characters
recently.
are
Shrek
Fairy
2
Tale
is joke
War.
after joke after joke, and I
It's so
kind of want to
funny.
check out 3 and 4. I remember
got-
4 was better than 3, but people were visibly mad with 3. Anytime you brought it up, it's like, it's the worst movie ever made.
That was the one with
and I
Merlin
was like,
Arthur, right?
yeah, and I was like, I don't
Yeah.
remember it being that like eye-gougingly terrible or whatever.
Shrek the Third.
But yeah, this IMDb
They
has
started
IMDb has like
stretching
a
it out.
placeholder of Shrek 5, 20 like 19 or something
Untitled,
like that. I'm
yeah.
like, bring it back.
Untitled fifth
I don't
Shrek
know.
film.
I don't know. Let's not.
You guys ever watch Puss in Boots?
The movie? Yes, I did.
I've seen bits of
Zach
it.
Galifianakis does the voice of the egg
Of Humpty Dumpty.
of Humpty Dumpty, and you
I
keep
really-
waiting for him to like fall apart.
My point I was going to say was like with Toy Story, yeah, you can revisit those movies and there's like stuff for everyone. It's almost like why they call it a family movie. But there's some animated stuff that is just for kids. Like
Yeah.
I can't watch Pokemon the animated series anymore.
Yeah.
Like that is very kiddie.
Yeah.
It's
Very
also
slow.
even back then I thought it was quite repetitive though. Every episode it's like, let's go. It's like Ash and his friends went down to Vermilion City, and it's like, come on, Misty, and then they get like, yeah, they get like attacked by Team Rocket. They fight Team Rocket. Team Rocket get blasting off again, tink, and then that's the episode. That was every episode. I'm like, every episode is just
The
so
same thing.
formulaic and terrible.
And they just take one step, one more
Yeah.
city or whatever. Yeah.
And like it is very childish now. I can't really watch it. Like I've tried. I'm like, That's also one of those weird things. It's like I don't remember watching Pokemon. I have no memory of physically sitting down and watching Pokemon. But if someone mentions an episode, like, hey, you remember that episode? Like they met the Eevee brothers, and there was the one Eevee that didn't want to evolve. And I was like, I do remember that. I remember that in its entirety. You know?
I can quote it.
Yeah. Like people can just name something, and I'm like, yep, I remember that
Yeah,
episode.
that was in the
Yeah.
TV show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's crazy how that works, how memory works, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, moving
Our
on.
brains are up in the cloud. The infinite cloud.
That's
Cats
enough.
and dogs.
That's it.
Cats and dogs.
Ah, with Goldblum, yes.
Oh, yeah, he was the
He's
He's
scientist.
the crazy scientist.
He was.
the dad. Yeah, the reason that
Jeff Goldblum.
Awful film. Terrible, atrocious film.
Don't tell me
I
you
think
loved
I
it.
enjoyed it when I was a little kid, though.
I think
Cats
I
and
could,
dogs.
I think
of
I could
course
still
you're gonna love it
enjoy
as a kid.
I like the bit
You
when
like
they
the
go
cats and the
underneath the
dogs.
kennel and they go, don't push the red button.
Yeah.
Oh, I pushed it.
It's so bad. Like I can't even. Did the dog talk, or
don't
was
know
it
if
just like
that's
a voiceover or whatever? Like I don't know how they did that stuff back then.
It
Anyway,
worked.
sorry.
It
Sorry.
Nah, moving on.
I
What's
gotta watch that
yours,
one
Sean?
again,
Let's
man.
wrap this shit
All
up.
right. So, somebody the other day said to me, adult cartoons are like the worst. They're like the bane of like film and television. And I'm
Who
curious.
said this?
I can't remember actually. It was a conversation I had with someone. Anyway,
Wait. You mean like Rick and Morty or
yeah. So
cartoon
not
porn?
not like cartoon porn, like cartoons for adults. So like, I was on Netflix, and so like Rick and Morty, BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
Two of like my favorite shows ever, and I was like, oh, you don't like adult cartoons? It's interesting. So I'm curious, what do you guys think of that, and what's your favorite all-time adult cartoon?
I think
First up, what's the time? Man?
35.
That's all right.
I think I like the movies that I
It's gonna
most
be a half an hour
the
topic.
movies
No.
the TV shows that I most recommend to people are probably the cartoons because they're like generally short form
they're quick and
they're
easy
like
to watch.
yeah, and they're snappy and the people that make them can do whatever they want with it. They don't like they're not as
And they
limited
tend
to
to
live
be
action.
clever
That's
for
why
that reason,
that's
yeah.
why they were popular because it's like The Simpsons can have an episode where they go to Australia or they go to Japan or they go to Canada
Yeah.
and it's no skin off the producer's back because they don't have to pay the cast to fly it there
Yeah.
or to get backdrops and stuff.
Yeah.
They just draw it.
Yeah.
That's why they I think
So
they
what-
like a lot of prime
What kind
time
of arguments
cartoons.
was this guy?
I think whoever that is, that's a lot of
Maybe they
absolute
just
trite
they
and
just
bullshit.
don't like
That's
animated.
Maybe they just never.
maybe
seen
they've
it
not
before.
found their good series because that's absolute rubbish. There's some of the best TV ever. The Simpsons is arguably the greatest show of all time. I'll fight anyone who argues that.
Quantity.
Obviously, season 3 to season 9. Let's be fair. I'll go up to season 14. That's as far as I'll go. But
Taken.
yeah, and that's sort of back then, and even now you have brilliant stuff. Yeah, like
South
Bojack,
Park?
South Park's
South Park.
fantastic.
I think
Fuck.
Bojack is one of the
Bojack is
most,
one of
Rick
the most
and
existential,
Morty.
like Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty is
Rick and
really
Morty is
clever.
maybe
That is
my
got-
favorite TV show. Yeah, like,
Agreed. Yeah,
the
I'm
latest
recommending. I
episode
literally
is-
recommended that to my grandma this morning. I'm like, I think you'll fucking love this. It's
It-
dark
it's-
and it's clever.
it
and
is hard to
you're
get
gonna
people
love
into it though, and even I didn't like it. I watched the first time, I'm like, oh, this is too weird
I
for
watched
me.
the first couple with you, and I was like, really? This
Yeah,
is
I
it?
could tell you weren't like enjoying it.
No,
and, like,
I didn't. But like, speaking of, like the day after you left, I like watched the rest of season 1.
well, that's the thing. I think if you binge a couple, like I showed it to my friend Keith, and I think we watched like 4 in one sitting.
Yeah.
And he was just like into it, and I was like, I gotta go
You
do
do
like,
have to get used
study.
to it.
And he was, I think he was sick or something like that, because he was just like, oh, and he got back to me. He's like, hey man, I just like binged that whole season. He's like, it's the best. I'm like, yeah, dude. And then like there was a time it was the only show I could watch. I'm just like this.
Yeah.
But,
Would you classify Adventure Time as a adult show? I,
think
feel like
it's
it's got
for
it's got
kids.
depth,
I've not
but it doesn't
seen
need it.
it.
Oh, you've not seen it?
and
Okay.
that's
I
need to
I've
watch
seen
it.
1 or 2 episodes.
You
but
can they kind of
it's so marketed.
there's like
for
a
kids.
depth there if you want it to be, but it's definitely like on the surface you can just give it to a kid and they'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's kind of blending the line a bit more of between sort of that kind of stuff. But I mean, everyone tells me to watch it, which in a weird way kind of puts me off.
Turns you
When
off, yeah.
I hate the line when people go, "I think you'll like this." I'm like, "You don't know me." It's like,
I'll show you, but
It's
not
like-
enjoying myself.
yeah, it's like if people said it more casually, like, I'd check it out, you might enjoy it or something like
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll put it on my list. Like, I would love to get into Adventure Time, but I just never have. And I think the more everyone seemed to love it, I was just like, nah, I don't know how
Oh,
I feel about
Futurama.
this. Futurama's
Oh, yeah.
good.
Well, that's
Futurama's really good.
straight off
Futurama
of
has
Simpsons back. Yeah.
The most up and down though, like they'll have like phenomenal episodes that I may or may not have written an essay on for like uni. Didn't get a good mark because they're just like it's Futurama, and I'm like, you don't understand. Like,
Watch the episode. I think you'll
I
like
think you'll
it.
like it. Yeah.
yeah, but then they have other episodes they have a lot of like filler episodes. I
Yeah,
think
they
they're
do,
they're
yeah.
just kind of like, not that great.
We couldn't come up with anything good this week. Here.
It's just not particularly
have some
funny
cartoon.
or engaging.
I think
but it's a very
Bojack's-
clever show.
Bojack's one of my favorites. Maybe even higher than Rick and Morty.
I've had trouble with that one.
Because
Yeah.
I like watch an episode and there'll be like some moments where it's like kind of slow, and then it'll just have like this massively deep thing, and I'll be like crying,
Yeah.
and then it'll end on like an animal pun, and I'll be like in tears of laughter again.
The amount of wordplay in that
There's
show
so
as
much
well. Like
wordplay.
there's I'm watching season 4, which even what you said, I was like, I thought about watching I can't remember something else, and I was like, I don't really want to watch something that's like too dramatic or anything like that. I was like, I'd rather watch something funny.
Yes,
I
you
watched
went
Bojack, and then I got like 2 episodes in, I'm like, I made the wrong choice. Like it's so existential and dark.
He's tragic. Like
It's
the main.
so
I've heard,
tragic.
I haven't
It's-
watched a
oh,
lot, but
man.
I've heard an interview with the creator, and he's like, he just wanted to kind of, create all these issues for people.
He broke down that barrier, man.
But-
what's the word? Like,
It
it's
is
not aspire to,
genre
but like to
bend,
Yeah.
relate to. He wanted to
Yeah.
create someone to relate to.
But I think they do
Yeah.
it in. I think having the animals and making it kind of silly makes it more digestible because
Yeah, it
it's
does,
not.
yeah.
It doesn't make the whole thing super like dark. There is like goofiness to it, I think, and yeah, like the episode I watched, Mr. Peanut Butter, who's great.
Yeah.
He's running for mayor,
Alan,
and the
you
mayor,
remind me so
the
much
mayor,
of
the
Mr.
mayor, he's totally Mr. Peanut Butter. The mayor that he's up against, sorry, the candidate that's running for the mayor that he's up against is a beaver, and his name's Chuck Woodchuck. And he's like, can Chuck Woodchuck could run for mayor? Like, when they say it, it's so funny.
There's
It's
another one
so
where like
good.
one of the characters goes on a date with like this like PhD like alcoholic like rhinoceros kind of thing, and there's like this whole big like build up to this date, and then at the end of it she's just like, oh, you're the best wino gyno rhino I know, or something like this. And it's like,
was he a gynecologist drinking
yeah,
wine?
he's like a doctor.
Oh, that's
he's
great,
like
that's
a
great.
gynecologist. It's
Yeah.
like, I was trying not to ruin the joke as I said it, but like it's like there's like a 10-minute build up, and like the one where he's underwater with he goes like to the fish world.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I don't want to ruin like the ending, but
It is.
I might check it
people
out
say
then.
we're in like the golden age of TV, or like this like new resurgence, and just like TV's so good now, and like I think that is with the
'cause you
cartoons
can tell
as well.
a better story like than you can with movies
Yeah,
in some way.
I think.
feel like
I mean,
silver screen is
you
like,
they can get dragged out in a lot of things, like Arrow, like those CW shows that are like 50-minute episodes, 24 episodes, stuff like
So
that. But it's
much.
like shorter seasons and stuff like that. Because even cartoons are like that. Bob's Burgers is another great example. Bob's
a
Burgers
great
is
example.
fantastic.
Yes.
Bob's Burgers
And
is really good.
they had like 24 episodes, but stuff like Rick and Morty only goes for like 10 episodes or 12 episodes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Archer's
what was
same.
your topic? I'm trying to think of what was Archer's
Archer's
fantastic.
great.
Archer's
That's
very
25.
good.
That is
25
so
episodes
funny.
a season.
They have
There's
such
more so now,
great
I think, as well.
characters. You can
It
just
is
like.
incredible. It truly is incredible. I don't like
They
my
could
whole
do
house when
anything.
they hear that I've put on Archer, they all like come out of their rooms and start watching it.
I know people that do not like it, and I get their arguments because it is a lot of yelling and just arguments. Like it's just like it gets a bit taxing at times. It's just like Lana, yeah, and it does kind of you're like, what am I watching?
Suppressing fire.
They do have some good jokes.
Well, no, but see, I don't think the jokes are like that great. But every time I watch it, I'm so invested in the characters and like what they've done that they'll like reference like the previous episode or the previous season, or even just like the joke that somebody said before. They're like the number of times he says stuff like phrasing, and that's all it takes for me to like lose, like I'm just like in tears of
I
laughter.
think I just watched that episode. Yeah.
Well, he does it all the time. He says like every episode. He's like phrasing.
I will say,
just goes-
latest,
it's
I will
like-
say the latest season's not that great.
Oh,
What's
really?
that, season 9?
It's the Dreamland one where they do like
I'm up to
1940s.
5 or something,
It's just
so-
not very
I
good.
haven't seen
I
that one.
yeah.
What
I'm
did
up
they,
to-
they did like Vice or something.
They did the
Vice, I'm
cocaine
watching that
one where they
Yeah, the
became drug
cocaine
dealers.
one.
That season wasn't good, but then they
I'm
came
really-
they came
I'm
back
really
and that
enjoying
season
that
was
one.
really good. And then I don't know, the Dreamland I just didn't enjoy.
Yeah, I can't remember all the
But-
seasons, but it's a great show.
Where do you
Watching-
What about anime? You guys watch any of that?
Well, I
I
wasn't
feel like
sure
that's
if
almost like
we
another
would
topic in its
go
own.
there.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's under the
Yeah,
like,
no,
adults,
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, anime, with the cartoon stuff, I think, I'm trying to think how I'm going to word this. Like, it's more accepting now for us to like have like we know cartoons can be adult as well.
Yeah.
Like when the Simpsons came out, like that was an adult show, and they tried to fight that. They were like, it's not for kids, it's not for kids, it's not for kids. But
Kids still watched
people were in
it,
this.
yeah.
I watched it as a kid,
Yeah,
and
so
I'm
did
like,
I,
I can't
yeah.
believe my parents like did, but they didn't know either. Like,
Yeah.
like because of Disney
it looked like a-
and all this stuff, it's like you just associate cartoon.
And it was on at
kid.
6 o'clock before the news. It was like, let me watch.
Well, it wasn't super sweary or anything like that. It
No,
wasn't
I
super.
don't
It
think
just
they
had a bit more adult
swore really at
themes, like
all,
Homer
yeah.
and Marge. Like apparently that was the first time like an animated couple had been portrayed in bed together. Like just them sitting in bed
Oh, yeah.
talking. Apparently that was like quite a thing at that time, sort of, because it was a cartoon. And I think the creators have kind of like, well, fuck it, our audience is younger. Like they kind of skew maybe younger, but
But then there was a market for like Family Guy and South Park. Like that
Yeah.
paved the way, I think.
well, yeah. And I remember reading an article about that of like, I think it was a woman. She was just like, I thought I hated. Kind of what you're talking about. Like, I thought I hated animated shows. And then she's like, I realized I just hated Seth MacFarlane. Because there was that period of time where every animated show
Hey, that's
on
valid. That's
was Family
valid.
Guy, American Dad, The Cleveland Show, like all those shows.
man.
And it's like, I remember I liked Family Guy at first. I remember because it was so kind of fresh. Like, it was this raunchier, edgier sort of The
And they
Simpsons.
were clever with
gets
the
a bit
flashbacks
repetitive.
as well. Like they would just show anything.
It was really clever. And, like...
Just drags
Because The
on
Simpsons
towards the
was
end,
more
yeah.
family oriented. Like, they had very like sweet episodes and sweet endings
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing. They had,
yeah.
like it was very family. Whereas the Family Guy sort of got away from that, and it was more just the humor. And so I think you liked it.
And there's
But
such
it's more
scapegoats, like-
shallow though. It's like it's less
Yeah.
substantial. And the problem is like Simpsons sort of are now sort of copying Family Guy, and the Simpsons is like incredibly shallow now and like doesn't even know what it wants to be.
Did you guys ever see the crossover between Family Guy and Simpsons?
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. Yeah.
It
They've
was
Simpsons
pretty
crossover
average,
with
yeah.
everyone, yeah.
Well, the weird thing is like it felt like it was
Or
20
at least their
years too
intros
late.
do.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Simpson intros are still like really good because they got the guest animators, but I don't watch the show.
They're like a Rick and Morty crossover.
yeah, like that
Yeah,
was great.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
But with the
That's right.
Family Guy one, it was very strange because they were referencing stuff like from seasons like 3 and 4, like early Simpsons, and I'm like, that's like 20 years ago now, like. Or however old, like Simpsons has been on like for almost like 30 years. The
one of
first
the
season was in
longest
19,
running shows.
1989 was the first season of The Simpsons.
That's crazy.
Which, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
30 years.
And so
Jesus.
I think everything was just that kind of far and like crude humor that Family Guy sort of was, and American Dad and all that stuff. And I think that's, and people like Family Guy, you know, more power to them. But I think that period wasn't that great. But now we're getting a lot more creative stuff and a lot
Paved the
more
way, yeah.
deeper stuff with Bojack and Rick
Yeah.
and Morty and things like that.
Yeah.
And stuff that just pushes like. The main reason I love Rick and Morty is just how creative it is and how imaginative it is.
I love it. Just subverts every fairy tale, sci-fi, fantasy. It just like flips it. It's like you thought
Yeah.
you knew this story.
It's just so good, and the way they draw attention to everything. Like in the most recent episode, there's like a character who's
I
like
don't.
one tiny thing. He's
But
just
no,
like
no one's gonna.
he's
Everyone's
like-
gonna have watched this.
he's
before.
like now like he's
For
like
me,
Oh, okay.
Okay, no, I won't say it then. But just the way, like, I thought about it. The more I thought about it, I was like, oh, it kind of is a spoiler. But well, let me say the other episode. It's the one. It's the interdimensional cable, and there's like the cop, and he's like, well, I learned a valuable lesson today. Like they just like it's like they say the like what happens in it. It's like, I learned a valuable lesson about friendship today. And it's like, I can do it because I'm an overconfident cop who doesn't take no for an answer. And then he's like, oh no, I learned a lesson. Like, I can't do it alone. Like, I just love that stuff. They just say it. It's so
great.
good.
It's a great show.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous.
All right, adult cartoons are good.
Well, let's go into anime then. Let's just on that. I don't watch enough anime.
Have you One Punch Man?
I don't
One
watch
Punch
enough
is
anime.
amazing.
Yeah.
I think the funny thing about anime is they don't give a crap. The Japanese don't give a crap.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's been around.
Full Metal Alchemist is not a kid's show. Could have fooled me the first 2 episodes. I was like, this is a kid's show.
Yeah.
And then like by the 3rd episode, like someone like puts their hand on someone's head and like explodes them or something, or like rips the spine out of them. Or, it
The
was
whole thing,
incredibly graphic, and I was like, okay, I guess this is.
It's got some pretty weird themes too. Like
Yeah.
It's
people
like sacrificing
becoming disgusting
like,
animals.
Yeah, it
limbs
is
and
the
bodies
equivalence
and stuff.
exchange.
Yes, it's like bringing people back to life, and
Yeah.
it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Great show.
Yeah, I think some of the best TV is like adult cartoons. Even I really like South Park.
Yeah.
And I think people dismiss South Park because of how crude it is. But I think if you get past the crudeness,
The social
they're
commentary.
incredibly deep. And their satire and their social commentary is like
you feel like
phenomenal.
I feel like they've done their research.
Like,
and
I couldn't wait for them. I couldn't
You're
wait to see
learning
like their
something.
take on stuff like that. Like I was like so excited with
Yeah.
it. And then like they just put their spin on things, and it's just insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's clever.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, let's not drag it out.
Mad.
Let's call it.
yeah, all right.
Adult
Cool.
cartoons are good.
Captain
Right.
Underpants movie.
Captain Underpants, not an adult cartoon.
Watch Fun
I
with
might
Dick and
join
Jane
my
if you haven't.
guilty pleasure list.
guilty
if
pleasure
it's like
list.
Yeah.
see how it is.
Yeah, I think I might update that one for the next episode. Let you guys
I'm
know-
gonna
let you
have
guys know what else.
revisit that.
I'm gonna have like
Creepy
go through some
things.
movies and try and think
Yeah.
like I'm like,
Yeah.
well, this sucks, but I like it. Like, I don't know.
Anyway, it's been a
Cool.
pleasure as always, guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
This was
having
good.
us on your screens.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Closing down in
See ya.
Bye.
4.
Count us out. Roll credits.